Hi, I'm Emily,
And I'm Julia.
and this is the Bad Bitch Podcast.
And here we are.
Twinning.
It is not Blue Monday, but it is Blue Podcast Day.
We are in royal blue, both of us. And I love this colour on both of us. But I feel like it's a shame we're not going out after this podcast.
For sure. It would be really good. It works.
Quite glam.
It's a very, it reminds me a lot of Elizabeth Taylor with the lipstick.
Yes, we've glammed it up today.
It does go very well with our pale legs.
Oh, no, don't keep bringing up the pale legs. After our last episode, I started to think I should maybe start fake tanning my bottom half.
Yes.
Just so it matches my top half.
I have
doesn't look too
definitely
weird.
done that.
Have you done that?
Yeah. So it's just like the contrast isn't so extreme.
No. But I love that we sync up on our level of glam, because sometimes we're a bit more casual.
Yes.
Today we brought it. I don't know what inspired that, but
no,
here we are.
Exactly. I love it.
I love it too. This is not today's topic, but I do think clothes can really change how we feel.
Fake it till you make it, baby.
I think maybe for me, I think I needed a bit of a lift.
Yes.
Today, and so I've dressed accordingly. And you know what? It works.
You're serving. It looks brilliant.
Oh, thanks, darling.
Yes.
As are you.
Oh, thank you.
Before we get stuck in, shall I do today's sponsor?
Do the sponsor. Oh, our shoes match too.
Yeah, we're literally both wearing nude shoes as well.
Love it.
We are ridiculously in sync.
Amazing.
I feel like, when people embarrassingly dress their children in the same outfits, like my mum used to do that with me and my sister.
Did she?
And the thing is, we were a similar height, so we looked like twins.
Oh, wow.
And when you're a child, it's like really embarrassing. And then somehow you and I have just lent into that as adults with each other. We're like embarrassing twins, but we choose to
we choose to be embarrassing twins.
We choose to be embarrassing twins. This is like, but it's like when it's a choice.
Yes.
Like I've chosen
100%.
I've chosen you to be my family. So now I want to dress the same. I didn't want to be in the exact same outfit as my sister. Or to be fair, I was okay with it. She did not like it.
She was rebellious against it.
It's not that. It's that because she's 2.5 years older, when people would say to her, "Oh, I didn't know you had a twin," it used to make her angry.
Isn't it the worst? As the oldest child, it is like the worst slight to think that you're not the oldest child.
Yeah, that you're the same age as your younger sibling. And I also think there's always this thing that the younger siblings are always a bit needy with the oldest ones, wanting their time and attention. And the oldest one's like, "Oh, just get away from me. You're just such a hindrance to me being my best self."
Yeah.
I think my sister experienced that. But anyway.
Oh.
Moving on from sibling dynamics.
Yes.
Let's talk about today's sponsor.
Yes, go for it, my angel.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, we were very blessed to have Naomi Buff as our first guest on the podcast. And I still get goosebumps thinking about that conversation because it was so great. There's so much in it. We need to have her back.
100%.
And the work she does is so empowering. It's very aligned with our mission at Bad Bitch. And so she is today's sponsor, and you can find her at naomibuff.com. And she offers lots of different services, but most of her work is centered around breath work. And that's whether you want to go in person to an experience with a sound bath. I think in person is a really good way to start.
Yes.
Because it just helps you get into it in the moment around other people. She's amazing at bringing together very supportive groups of women, which we love. But also she offers one-to-one coaching. I think, again, if there's something specific you're struggling with, it can be really helpful to have that conversation, and then she can help you build a practice that really supports what you need in the same way you do with your clients. But I know she also does work with female entrepreneurs and businesswomen. What does she offer there?
So she does a workshop called Soul-Led Strategy, where she helps women who run soul-led businesses start to figure out how to incorporate AI into their companies, because it's coming, right? And it's there is still, I feel like, especially in some of if you're in certain industries, there's more not resistance to it, hesitancy. And it's because it's this unknown quantity, right? We know how much a brain loves an unknown quantity. But yes, she just demystifies it, and she explains how we can apply it in a way that feels good and aligned for you. And the whole day is just really beautifully executed by Naomi. She will bring in experts to speak on different topics. I've been on the workshop myself. It was amazing. And again, she just brings together the most amazing group of women. And she just has the most wonderful energy.
She really does.
And it's like you all just feel so supported, so welcome. And talking about the fake it till you make it, what with the dressing, sometimes you need someone else to believe in you. And Naomi is 100% in your corner, and she 100% will support you, and she believes you can do it, and therefore you just start to believe you can do it. Oh my gosh, this is so going perfectly into today's topic.
It is. But before we get into that topic, check out naomibuff.com. And if you've never tried breathwork before, she's got a free 20-minute recording
Yes.
to help you have that first experience. I think it's one of those things that just try it.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be for you, but I don't think until you've tried breathwork you really understand what it is. And as she said on our episode, it's breath work.
Yes.
It's not the same as just like a nice guided relaxation, which is lovely. You are going to have to work. It's in a way it's a bit of a workout, but then you're going to get a really great experience off the back of it. So
100%.
So a wonderful sponsor this week. And if you didn't hear it, please go back and listen to our podcast 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
But before we get into today's topic, which will be limiting beliefs, what's going on in terms of pop culture?
So really interestingly, we talked about how LVMH sold Marc Jacobs a while ago. Very interestingly, so now LVMH are looking to buy High Rocks.
High Rocks, the endurance event?
Yes.
What an unusual purchase.
I know. I love the look of confusion on your face. Was also like, I was like, is this fake news?
No, it's really interesting.
So
what's going on there?
So it's the family office, El Catterton, which is an LVMH backed business, are looking to invest they say around, whatever they invest is going to make the High Rocks brand worth between 700 million and £1 billion. So they are in talks to invest or acquire a majority stakeholder share in the High Rocks business, which is really interesting because obviously they divested away from Marc Jacobs, which was like they saw as like divesting away from like a mid-level brand and in keeping the focus on in fashion, like their high-level Louis Vuitton, their real like flagship brands. But they have invested recently. I mean, and this is a separate business from LVMH, but it is connected. They're investing in lifestyle businesses such as Peloton. They're focusing on the businesses that build community, like High Rocks builds amongst their athletes, and that lifestyle business, which is just it's very interesting turn of events.
Well, the thing you have to think about with an organisation like LVMH, that they're of a scale, they have so much money. And if they divest a high value business like Marc Jacobs, they need to do something with that capital to, make money. Okay. So one of the areas of growth or potential growth is experiences. Because if you think about it in terms of like the AI world, I mean, I don't know whether we're fully going into the matrix, but if you look at consumers and what they're looking for, they are still looking for human experiences. They're still looking for connection. And I think in some ways they're going to look for that more. So actually, if you look where a lot of investment has gone from PE at the moment, it is going into companies that offer experiences, that offer getting together with other people in a unique way. Think about how much concert tickets go for and football tickets go for. Crazy amounts of money because people really want those in-person experiences. So if you look from a very commercial investing position, it makes sense that LVMH are coming out of what they think is some kind of lower level, like lower value consumer brands that are just selling products to experiences. So actually, although I was quite surprised when you brought that up, commercially that makes a lot of sense.
And with High Rocks, they have built, like, obviously there's a lot of banter around it and that sort of thing, but they have built an amazing business and they've scaled it very quickly and they franchised it. So
what are they offering beyond the actual High Rocks race?
Okay, so the way you sign up for the race, number one, I think they're running the races now on a more frequent basis because I think there's one in Birmingham coming up, and instead of it being like the usual 2 days, they're now like it's like literally a whole week. And
a whole week?
Yeah, pretty much.
What do you do in a week?
Oh, they'll just have different athletes in different classes. So you'll have women's open, women's pro, men's open, men's pro, women's doubles, men's doubles, mixed doubles.
And what's the format of the race?
So you'll do it's like a hybrid race. So there's a mixture of running and then the stations. So you'll run a kilometre, then you'll row a kilometre. This is High Rocks people, do not come for me. I know I have not got this in the right order. Then you'll run another kilometre, then you'll do a kilometre on the ski erg. You'll run a kilometre, you'll do a sled pull.
Right.
Push. burpees, lunges, and these are all split up by the
And
kilometres.
is there a rivalry, a friction with the CrossFit Games kind of world?
I would believe so. Probably think so. Yes, yes. CrossFitters have always been. Yes, I will leave it at that.
I believe
yes,
in that.
yeah.
We're not going
No,
to
exactly.
start an argument between the two.
Exactly. But it's really, but as well as, not only do they sell the race tickets, and these are about £100 ticket, £130 sometimes. They will bolt on things, so you can. Oh my gosh, they built like an insane brand. You have to pay extra if you want to flex your ticket, and there's 2 levels of flex. There's a flex where you can cancel your ticket fully, which obviously costs more than the lower flex option, which is where you can swap the name of the athlete, so you can get someone else to race your race. You can buy photographs as an add-on. They've got obviously the High Rocks official trainers, official merch. They've got a deal, an exclusive deal now with Red Bull, to the point where if you try and take in another energy drink, they will take it off you when they do a bad search. 100%. Yeah.
Wow.
And actually, they're very protective of their brand now, because they have, obviously there's been a lot of fitness brands that have used photographs of their athletes in the races competing in their stuff, but actually, like, High Rocks have now said you can't use any photography for commercial purposes unless it's Puma or unless it's High Rocks merch.
So they've really nailed the kind of commercial side of it.
Yes, yes.
What I find fascinating about this is the whole world of doing endurance athletics, but at a amateur scale. And obviously one of the things that we're slightly obsessed with is rivals, right?
Yes.
Which takes you back to the 80s. And in the 80s, what people would go for a jog, play a game of squash, play some tennis. There was nothing like
Ride horses.
Ride horses, but there was nothing like High Rocks for the general public.
No, it's true.
I think there was barely the London Marathon, right? And it's fascinating in this era to see how many people are into endurance athletics.
Yes.
Who are just like regular folk. What do you think is driving that? Because that's a huge change in terms of what people consider leisure, or what people consider a suitable level of exercise, right? Because it's an extreme level of fitness to be at High Rocks level, right?
I do feel like that definitely because as time has gone on, it's become more popular to go to the gym. I remember a time when I first started lifting weights, when myself and my friend would be the only girls in the weights room. And now it's like, brilliantly, more women are lifting weights. And it's like, with the rise of social media, dare I say, when you see more people doing it, you're like, I can do that too. And also I think as well with COVID, because obviously the gyms were shut and a lot of people's like outlets were shut, a lot of people started to run. And then therefore, like, that even people who wouldn't run before would run for exercise, because it was a way of getting out of the house, right? It was a reason you were allowed out of the house. So you've got that running element. And a lot of the people that do very well at High Rocks, obviously it's a mixture of the weights and that. A lot of them are like, they are runners primarily. And there's become this rise of this thing called the hybrid athlete, where it's not so much enough to be a runner or lift weights. It's like we're melding the two. You could argue whether that is always been a principle of general fitness, that you should be able to do both and not one or the other.
Yes.
But it has become a popular thing, again, with social media. And that High Rocks, that races have become very like prominent because of that.
And I wonder also if it touches into, we did an episode that talked about kind of obsession.
Yeah.
I think there's something that attracts the obsessive, and maybe the kinds of obsessions people have
because you're competing
have evolved.
Yeah.
Or maybe work used to be more competitive, and the workspace has in a way become less aggressive, and maybe people are attracted to the competitiveness of that. I feel like it's almost like a transference of something that existed in a different format before that maybe isn't available. So now it's become people's outlet, people's obsession, what uses people's time. I do think people having children later means that people are younger and fitter with more disposable time and income to do those things. Whereas, in the 80s, in your 20s, you would have had young children So you wouldn't necessarily have time to go and train to do high rocks, right?
And it's like a natural progression. You think as well, it's like how you would just smoke in the office and you just smoke all the time, and in the 80s, or you wouldn't just smoke all the time, but
No, but
you
that was a
could
very
smoke
normal
anywhere.
thing.
Yeah. And even like in our lifetime, it's like you would smoke in nightclubs and everything, and then that went away. And it's like the natural progression of people taking health more seriously, and the rise of that the wellness industry. It is
Yeah.
very interesting and fascinating.
But if you go back 100, 200 years, when people had to do a lot of manual labour
Exactly
day
that
to day,
too. Yes.
they had to do, but every day was a bit of an endurance
Yeah.
event.
Mm-hmm.
So they would kind of laugh at us now,
100%.
sitting at our desk, but then spending all this time and money to go and train, to pay and do a race, to exhaust ourselves, when that was just their day-to-day existence.
Yes. It is a very fascinating subject for sure. One we could go on.
Yes, we could. Are we done on pop culture though?
Yes, I think so for now. Yeah.
Sorry, I've got it. If anyone watching, I'm waving around because there's some kind of fly. Did you Mr. Miyagi it? There's some kind of little bug trying to get me during this episode.
I mean, if you're talking about Mr. Miyagi, there's Cobra Kai.
I haven't seen Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai is brilliant, and then they did a film. I really enjoyed it. Although it got to the point where I'm like, how many more people can you bring back from the original TV series?
Oh, really?
But there have been, yes. Which it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. It's one of those things that you can binge watch, but then when there's a break between, I don't know if you find this, when there's a break other than Rivals, when there's a break between seasons, sometimes I choose not to go back to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like flavours of ice cream. Yeah. And sometimes you just fancy a flavour and sometimes you don't.
Yeah. So there you go.
Let's talk about today's topic.
Yes. Let's talk about limiting beliefs.
Yes.
How they show up. What we can do. Like, yes. How they can become debilitating, right? They really can.
I mean, I love this topic because overcoming my limiting beliefs completely transformed my career and actually my health as well.
Amazing.
And it's amazing how many things you can tell yourself aren't possible.
Mm-hmm.
And the internal messaging
mm-hmm.
in your head is so powerful. So today we're going to have a conversation about what limiting beliefs are, what the kind of internal radio station is,
mm-hmm.
what it can be saying, how it can impact you. And then how do you change the radio station? How do you change the beliefs in a way that actually changes what's possible for you to achieve?
Mm-hmm. And it's very true. And I think you saying about how powerful that voice is in your head, Dr. Julie Smith explains it really well in one of her books. And she says, it's like, remember when we're going into a new situation and our brain's very unsure anyway, because we're in that space where we're not quite sure if it's going to equal death, because it's new, because we're still thinking it's cave women times. So our brain is basically having a best guess at the situation that's going on based on what knowledge we've got and stored before. And if that brings up emotion, it's like we say to ourselves, I feel it, therefore it must be true.
Yes.
And for me, that was just like amazing, because that is so spot on. It's like, I feel it, therefore it must be true. And that part of the brain that these messages come from, because they are emotionally backed by anxiety, anger, overwhelm, depression, those kind of feelings, anything when we say to ourselves, these limiting beliefs are so emotively backed, they are really compelling and convincing. Hence why I feel like, when I started this conversation, it's like they can be very debilitating.
Well, and think about the number of times you felt something negative about something in advance.
Yeah.
You felt this thing's not going to go well. I'm feeling anxious about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the number of times that thing has been fine.
Yes,
exactly. But like you said, the feeling, it seems very real to you.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore your brain's like, oh, this is going to be awful. And then it's okay.
Yeah.
But those feelings are very real. And sometimes it's thinking about, but where does that start? And often it starts with a thought.
Yes.
The thought is, this isn't going to go well.
Yeah.
Then we get the feelings of anxiety. Then that, again, makes our brain go, oh, well, this is really bad. I shouldn't do it.
Yes.
So we're going to talk a little bit about breaking that cycle.
Exactly that.
So should we start with what a limiting belief is, just to kind of set the scene? Yeah?
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about it's when you... for me, it's like, how does it show up? It's like, it can be literally like your brain going to your shitmate, or
let me try and define it, and then let's do all the different ways it shows up, because I think you're right. There's many different versions of this, but ultimately, a limiting belief is a belief that something isn't possible or that something is going to go badly
Mm-hmm.
that limits you, as in you have the belief and then it stops you taking action, right?
Yeah.
That's like the basic description of it. And limiting beliefs aren't like are often untrue, but they're not always untrue.
Mm-hmm.
If I have the limiting belief that I can't be a gold medal, like Olympic gold medal swimmer, that I think that's true. I think at this point in my life, at 45, we can say
I'm like, let's get you in the pool, baby.
I haven't developed my short twitch muscles from like age 10. So we know that that's not going to happen. So we don't want to kind of set this as in, well, anytime you believe something isn't possible, it is. It's just your thought process holding you back. There are some limiting beliefs.
You've got a career in the MBNA.
Right, yeah, exactly. You height shaming me right now, right? I'm not going to be
All good things come in small packages.
a professional basketball player. So I think sometimes, again, the mistake is just like, oh, it's just, if you just believe it's possible. No, like,
No.
but so limiting beliefs where it says this isn't possible are sometimes true, and we can work through that. But I would say 99% of the time, they aren't.
Mm-hmm.
But our brain has decided, whether it's risk managing, whether it's our own confidence, whether it's external messaging from other people, our brain has decided that this thing is not possible, not achievable, outside of our gift, and therefore we can't do it. And so what limiting beliefs do is they hold us back, and they hold us back in all different realms, which is where we can now explore all the different flavors of a limiting belief. So like a really simple one is just the belief that you're not capable of something.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had many clients who think they're not capable of reaching a leadership level, or they're not capable of being a C-suite leader, or they're not capable of hitting a certain level of income.
Mm-hmm.
And those beliefs, when we test them, and we'll talk about how we kind of challenge them, it turns out that they're not true,
Mm-hmm.
but they are self-fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really believe that you can't become a C-suite person, it could happen, but it's very unlikely that it's going to happen if you don't actually have that belief about it. So what are some other limiting belief examples?
Other than your shit, mate.
Well, I mean, no, but that's like the ultimate one, isn't
Yes.
it? Just your shit, you can't do this, you're not good enough.
They can show up. I think with limiting beliefs, you have like ones that happen in the moment, and then like reoccurring ones which really impact like your longer term future. So shorter term ones might be something like, oh, I don't really have the confidence to answer that question in the meeting, or I don't want to meet that client. Or like for a longer term, which really starts to impact on our well-being, is like, I'll never be a C-suite, like I'll never be in the C-suite. I will never be able to afford the house I want. I'm never going to meet the partner that I want to. They just don't exist, you know. And or even like, as the older I get, I look more old and more haggard, you know. It's like these things.
What's the limiting belief? That I'm just going to look old and haggard?
Yes, exactly. That I like, oh, you know, it's all downhill from here.
Yes. Oh my God,
Mhm.
that's such a limiting belief. And we
Yeah.
talked about, I think, with Naomi, I think
Yes.
there's so many limiting beliefs about aging. Oh,
Mhm.
well, I'm too old to do this. I'm
Yes.
too old to achieve
Yeah.
that. I'm too old to be in good health.
Oh, who do you think you are? That wanting that for yourself is another like really sneaky limiting
You don't deserve
belief.
that.
Yes, you don't
That's
deserve
a
it.
limiting belief.
Yeah.
I think there's a big one about what other people think about you.
Oh yeah.
So there's a really common one is, well, if I do that, other people will think I'm stupid,
Mhm.
or they won't like me if I do this thing, or they'll react badly. I mean, when I had my big break in banking and I got a big promotion, one of the massive limiting beliefs was, no one's going to respect me in the team. Everyone's going to hate me. Like, everyone's going to make my job really hard as their boss, which they didn't do. But a lot of beliefs are about how someone's going to react to what we're trying to do. I think that's a big one.
My family, X, Y, and Z, primary caregiver won't approve. The going back to the what will people think of me, that is backed by that primary fear of your primitive brain about being excluded from the tribe.
Yeah, and the limiting beliefs are often driven by risk management, and one of the biggest risks is being rejected.
Mm-hmm.
So if I speak up and share this thing that I'm finding difficult with my partner, they won't want to go out with me anymore. Which, again, some limiting beliefs are true. There are some people out there that if you sit them down and tell them something really difficult for yourself, they will reject you. So we don't want to just say that's just all limiting beliefs. No. But these are things that really hold us back. One of the ones that I think is more interesting is the how-to. So a client might have a goal, but they have very limiting beliefs about how it can be achieved. So they're like, well, that can only be achieved if I do X, Y, and Z. Or in the health space, well, I want to be a certain weight, but they their limiting belief is the only way I can do that is by being on an extremely restrictive diet or by cutting out way too many food groups. And so sometimes the limiting belief isn't necessarily that the goal is impossible. They think the goal is possible, but they believe it can only be achieved a very hard way. And I used to think that, I can only achieve my career goals by working insane
really hard.
hours.
Yeah.
And I'll have to be pretty miserable to do it.
Yeah. And I think going back to what you said about, like, you know, if I voice this to my partner, it's like with the limiting beliefs, it's like that feeling will just hold you in that space of like that really uncomfortable space. It won't be like, I want to voice this with my partner, but I'm afraid of the consequences. But like where you would come from it from a logical brain, where you'll be like, it's really important that I say this because actually, do you know what? It might improve our relationship. There's no room. It's like, here's the limiting belief, end of story. It's a complete sentence and it's a complete narrative. It's not like, I have this feeling, but actually it could be seen from this perspective or this perspective, or things could be better. It's like, this is where we're kind of stuck in this kind of repeating circle.
Well, and that's where we come on to how we overcome them. So the first step is just recognizing where you have them. So a good way is just do a download of any negative thoughts, particularly any negative thoughts that you repeatedly have, but also looking at anything you want to achieve and writing down any negative thoughts and beliefs you have about that. Now, you've just reminded me of something you said before, which is the shortcut answer of how we overcome them, because we're going to do the longer version in a second. But the shortcut version is you just ask yourself, but what if it all worked out?
Yeah.
Which I love that question. You always raise that. Okay, but what if it all worked out?
Yeah.
Because the limiting belief is this can't work out, this isn't possible. But what if it was?
Yeah.
Just entertaining. Just entertaining the possibility is a really good way of starting to kind of overcome it. But let's talk a bit more in depth, because it's not quite that simple. About you identify all those negative messages. That's the negative radio station. That's like waking up every morning to, do you remember the old alarm clock radios?
Yes.
Oh my God, I loved having an alarm clock radio and waking up to music. I don't know why I don't do it now.
There you go.
Because I think waking up to music can put you in a really positive space.
100%.
If you woke up every morning to a personalised radio station and it said, "Hi Julia, you're going to have a shit day." You're going to have a shit day.
Don't bother getting out of bed.
Your clients don't like you. You're not going to do a great job. You're not going to deliver value. Your partner's really pissed off with you, so there's just like an argument brewing on the horizon. And to be honest, everything's going wrong in the world. So there's not like a positive outlook on anything really. And the dreams you want to achieve, it's just going to get more and more difficult or expensive or impossible. What kind of a day would you have?
That's a terrible day.
Have a terrible day. I mean, would you even get up?
No, you wouldn't.
I think I'd like pull the duvet over the head.
Yeah.
You know, just ignore it. So the positive radio station, which I'm going to give the extreme version. This isn't how it normally happens. But do you know the Lego movie?
I do.
You know, in the Lego movie, they have the song "Everything Is Awesome."
I love that.
They wake up to every morning, right? Everything is awesome, right?
So
it's just like this song about how just everything's great. I'm going to have the best day ever. If you woke up to a radio station that was like, "Hi, Julia. Oh my God, we love you. You're the most awesome person ever. You're a total bad bitch. The work you're doing is really meaningful. Your clients really can't wait to speak to you today. They got some issues. You're really going to help them move forward with it. They're going to show you appreciation and love. You're going to have a great time seeing a friend. You're going to get a message from someone who's really appreciated some work you've done in the past. And then your partner's really looking forward to seeing you later. And they're going to have a great time with you. And then you're going to like have a really chill evening and go to bed really early and just feel fantastic tomorrow." How's your day going to be?
Amazing.
Amazing, right. So that radio station, that's what our internal narrative is. And we are listening to our thoughts. It's the thoughts we're having about the past, how the past has been, and how the future's going to be. And unfortunately, we all spend way too much time thinking about the past, thinking about the future, rather than being in the present. And on our last episode, I talked about how annoying I find it if you're watching a movie with someone and they keep guessing about what's coming. Because I want to just enjoy it like moment by moment in the present.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of work to try and live in the present. So I think I've realized one of the reasons I find that annoying is I'm like, oh my God, I've done tons of meditation so I can just be in the present. And now you're trying to mess with that by going on about the future of this film. It's a silly example, but a lot of inner peace comes from living more in the present.
For sure.
But let's be honest, we have this radio station that said, "Oh, yesterday's meeting didn't go very well. I think my boss hates me now, right? I have clients WhatsApp me going, oh my God, I said this in a meeting. I think I'm going to get fired. And I'm like, calm down. Literally, your boss is going to forget about this in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Or there's the future of like, well, I've got this thing coming up. I'm not going to get the job. Then they're going to hate me at interview, or I'm not going to get this promotion, or I'm really unhappy, but if I move, it's too big a risk. So we're running the negative radio station. And a big part of overcoming limiting beliefs is catching yourself doing it and just trying some different messaging. And one of the simplest ways, because I quite like very simple approaches, is to look at your most common negative messaging and just try out reversing it. Try out the absolute opposite. So if the belief is, all my colleagues hate me and they think I'm an idiot, and don't try and filter whether you think that's true or not. Just write down what your brain's telling you. Write down the opposite belief. My colleagues love me and they think I'm awesome and I bring a lot of value. Right?
Yes.
And then just ask yourself the question, is there the remotest possibility that's true? We're not trying to go for like 100% definitely that's true. We're like, is there any world in which it's possible that that's true? Because then your brain can be like, yeah, okay. Yeah, like that could be true. We're not trying to be like overly Pollyanna-ish. Okay, it's like, I want to, we've got this issue with my partner. I want to bring it up with them, but I think they're going to react really badly. What's the opposite? They're actually going to be really glad I told them. Is there a tiny possibility that that's true? Okay, yes. So we're just starting to open the door that this positive messaging is possible. And once we've done that, we might start looking for evidence. Okay, is there some evidence that this is true? Well, actually, last week, my colleague came to me for help on something. So they must think I'm good because they came to me for advice, right? Or last week, I actually did this piece of work and I actually did a really good job. So I actually am good at my job. Or I talked before about comparing yourself. They often say to compare is to despair, but sometimes, well, I did this piece of work and actually it's a hell of a lot better than my colleagues' work, right? So we're starting to gather some evidence. And then we're going to ask ourselves, if I believe these things were true, how would I feel? How would I act? Okay, can I try that on for size? Can I go into work tomorrow and act as if I believe that my colleagues like me? Because your behaviour is going to be so different than if you go into work believing that your colleagues don't like you. And now you're trying that new belief on for size out in the real world. And interestingly, you'll then get much more positive results, because say you go into a conversation with someone assuming it's going to be an argument. You go in on the defensive, it's not going to be a positive conversation. If you go in thinking this could go positively, you're more likely to have a positive conversation. So these beliefs become self-fulfilling. And then the final stage is just write down a list of things you would like to believe, even if they're not true. So I wrote down, I remember a point in my career where I really doubted myself. I had this list in my phone that said, you're great at your job, the people who work with you value you, your career's going well, you're going to get promoted, your financial goals are really like achievable. I wrote this list and I read it every morning. And that was me changing the radio station. And I read it and read it and read it, and I acted accordingly. And sure enough, all those beliefs, they then became the reality and I experienced them. So that's kind of the more complex version of how I like to work with people to change those limiting beliefs.
Okay, amazing. And that's really good. So the steps are write them down.
Write down the limiting beliefs.
Explore the opposite, flip it around.
Explore the opposite, yeah.
And then like do a percentage of maybe it's how true is it?
Just ask yourself, yes or no, is it at all possible? So my example of me being an Olympic swimmer, is it at all possible that I could be an Olympic gold swimmer? No. And it's okay to sometimes say, okay, that's just not possible. Like be realistic. But most of them you're going to say, okay, yeah, that it could be possible.
Okay. I love that. And then it's acting.
So that's like, it could be possible. Let's find some evidence that it's true, because the brain likes evidence. Like you always talk about, run the video. Stop looking for the evidence it's false. Your brain's amazing at that. Go and find evidence that this new belief is true. Write down the new beliefs you'd like to have and then start acting
in that way
as if they're true and see what happens.
And like you say, it's like giving evidence for your brain, and it's just starting to retrain that like, and recognize the difference in the voices in yourself. You know when it's actually the voice of calm reason. It feels very different. Something I do with my clients as well is like with their in limiting belief voices, I'm like, just first stage is always awareness. And if you want to create some distance between this little bullshit voice in your head and what is actually true, give it a name, like even a comical name or some sort like
So like who's the
a
negative
mean
Nelly
name.
kind of
Exactly, yes. So give that limiting belief. You can't do it. Like I call mine Angelica from the Rugrats.
thing. That's a brilliant
It's
reference.
like, oh, okay, so this is Angelica having like a little shit fit about something. So it just is like, it just helps me go, that's Angelica. It's now funny. It's not probably not true. She's probably
Yes.
just chatting shit. Whereas it's like, yeah, then we can like explore what we're doing to turn the tide and where the real voice is coming from.
And I think we can also sometimes what can help as well as naming the negative is sometimes it's hard to be positive for ourselves. So kind of visualizing an external guide
Yes.
or an external advisor, or even think about if you've got a very positive friend, I could think, well, what would you say to me in this situation? Well, you would be like, oh my God, you completely got this.
Yeah.
So if you can't do it for yourself, just going, well, what would if I had like, sometimes you see like a coach who's just like relentlessly positive and they're like, oh my
Ted
God, you
Lasso.
got, Ted Lasso, you guys have got this. Like what, just imagine you've got that coach, this person who's just bigging you up saying you can do anything. Channel that. What are they going to be saying to you?
Yeah, 100%. There's a reason why he says believe, because it's like you start with that self-belief. Maybe we should do like, a podcast on building self-belief.
Yeah.
Because it's like the more evidence you have, the more you sort of play dress up or pretend to like dress a certain way and become that person, the more it just becomes your reality, because your brain is literally like, well, I guess this is what we're doing. So
this is happening.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this is happening. So why would we think it's any different?
Yes. Yeah. Totally. I love your tip about like naming it. Do you have any other tips or advice that you use with clients that help them spot when they're having a limiting belief? Because I think one of the hardest things is spotting when it's happening.
100%. I feel like it's like you will know, because a good like place to start is it will be backed by a feeling. It's like I'm starting to feel something, whether it's like a bit sicky, sweaty palms, or my breathing changes pattern. Maybe I even feel a bit lightheaded. But it's like when those feelings start to come, like, because when you're feeling good and in control, you'll just feel like you will feel pretty good, pretty calm, generally speaking. If you're feeling emotionally charged, it's like, is this the voice of like Angelica or my critical inner voice? And it's like just starting to work through that. And the other thing I'll say is like treat that personality that you give a name as like a little petulant 3-year-old child. It's like you're having this shit fit because you don't want to do something, but it's like distract it with something good. You were saying about starting the day with a positive rate, like framing your day up for success by having your positive radio station. If you redivert your attention, even if it's like, oh, I'm trying to think of something. I'll never get. Say you're sitting in a meeting and you're like, I don't know the answer to this question. Be like, okay, well, this is a really good, like, okay, we may not know the question, but it's a good opportunity to learn. Or things are in this moment.
Reframing, that's a real growth mindset thing, is actually recognizing that challenge is an opportunity to learn.
Yes.
So even if you're stuck in the limiting belief, which is this is difficult, if you could go like, oh, well, this is difficult, this is a chance to learn.
Yeah.
If you can't quite get yourself from this is difficult to this is easy, just be like, great opportunity.
Exactly. And it's not like, it's like we don't have to always go from I feel really shit to I feel really amazing. Yes. It's like, what's the middle ground? It's like, okay, well, we're just going to see if that's true.
Yeah, like what if it's like, obviously I've said about reversing it, but you can just ask yourself, okay, what if it's just not that bad? Right? What if it's just moderately uncomfortable? And I think we have this very strong...
What is it that I hear guys say sometimes? It ain't that deep, mate.
Right. Yeah. Why are we overthinking this? I do think we've slightly become programmed to not be that uncomfortable.
No,
Or we're uncomfortable only when we choose to be. Oh, I want to go and do high rocks. I'm going to choose to do that training and think I've got a growth mindset. But actually, there's other areas like personal relationships where I'm not letting myself be uncomfortable. I think we've got in this slightly kind of selfish mindset of being uncomfortable is bad. But actually, I've got a limiting belief. Oh, that means this is going to be a bit hard to do it. Let's just still do it.
Yeah.
Be okay not being okay. Be okay being a bit uncomfortable.
And focus like on what the potential rewards are. It's like, yes, I'm going to be uncomfortable for maybe like 5 minutes, and next few hours, next week, next month. But what is going to be the good things that I'm going to get out of this?
I mean, when I look back at my life and some of the things that feel like the biggest achievements or some of the things I've enjoyed the most, they all required me to overcome limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
Becoming a public speaker, people, would find this strange when they see me speaking, but I used to be absolutely terrified to speak in front of anybody. So that was the prompt to start my limiting beliefs journey. The level of seniority and success I had in my banking career. If you told me when I started that I would have ended up like head of department at 32, I'd have taken a very heavy bet against myself on that one. I'd said, I don't even know how it's happening. You're smoking drugs. Like this, it cannot be true. But overcoming my limiting beliefs, I achieved that. Even writing a book, you think, well, that's going to be like really hard. How am I going to find the time? How am I going to make that happen? How is it going to be readable? There's so many things that when I was much younger, I thought were impossible. And the only thing I had to do was change my belief system to achieve it. Because I always had the capability. And there are loads of people listening today who are incredibly capable, but they're holding themselves back through limiting beliefs. And I think another practice I would say is really helpful is we talk about the value of goals. We've done our 5-year vision episode that's worth listening to. If you write down your kind of 5-year vision in each of your areas, your relationships, your career, your finances, then I think it's quite good on a monthly basis, or even at the beginning, maybe even on a weekly basis when you're first starting with this work, to go through all those goals and ask yourself, what negative beliefs have I had about that this week?
That's
or what
really
limiting beliefs have I had? Because again,
Yeah.
we're probably better at spotting this because I've been doing limiting belief work now for 20 years. But if you're not used to that, you might just not even notice them. But if you go through that structure of what's my goal, what limiting beliefs or what fears or what negative thoughts am I having about
What might
it?
come up?
What might come up? So rather than just being able to spot it in the moment,
And being surprised by it.
just sit
Forewarned
down
is forearmed.
regularly, work through that. And I regularly ask myself what are my limiting beliefs, and I'm sometimes really surprised at what comes up. Like you'd think with the work I do, I'd be pretty good at spotting it in the moment, and then I'm like, oh my God, I've been carrying this limiting belief on this one thing for about a month.
Wow.
So maybe having a regular practice
I
to
think
check
that's
in
a
on
key
that.
point. It's like the work when it comes to limiting beliefs. It's like playing flipping whack-a-mole. It's like you'll hit one and you'll be like, I'm smashing this.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like, no, another one will appear. And it's like it is a consistent work. It is consistent work, but that is like life. It's like that's how we grow and how we improve.
You're never done with this.
No.
The brain will keep risk managing.
Yes.
So it's not like you're going to be so good at meditating and mindfulness work that you'll never have a limiting belief anymore. 100%. It's having the tools. What are some of the things you've achieved or overcome through addressing limiting beliefs?
I feel like it is definitely important to ask like if it's like I can't do this thing, it's like asking myself, okay, what evidence have you got to support that I can do it, Or if I am really feeling, and I do this with my clients too, if I or they are feeling really paralyzed by a limiting belief, it's like, because we'll get obsessed with like the perfect outcome or what the end point is of overcoming this limiting belief. It's like, what is a small, tiny step to overcome this belief? What's a small step that's going to take me towards my goal? And it's really tiny. What's going to give me the evidence that this limiting belief is not true?
So let's take an exercise example. Because I like them, and I also think a lot of people listening often set fitness goals. So say a client's got a goal, they want to run their first half marathon. Like it's something that's on their wish list, they'd like to do it. But then they've got limiting beliefs about, well, I've not done it before. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I don't know if I've got the time commitment. This might be embarrassing. What if I tell people I do it and then I can't achieve it, whatever. What would be those like first little steps that just get them moving forward rather than, because you can just talk yourself out of anything.
Yeah.
Really.
100%. So there's a few really cool things actually. Like number one, I would be like almost like some people will have the goal and work a training plan backwards. Some people I would say is literally it depends where you are on your running journey. If you've never run before, like start really easy. And I mean like couch to 5K, because
which is an app if anyone wants to start running.
Like literally, because it's like you will look at it and it's something as simple like you are going to run for 30 seconds, walk for 90 seconds. And even if you feel like you can't do it, your brain will be like, but I can definitely do that because that is so easy.
Yeah, who can't run for 30 seconds? Exactly.
Because I get it now. I'm training for a marathon. And like when I'm on my training runs, especially the ones I'm not enjoying, I'm like, how the hell am I going to run 42 kilometers when at this moment, like, obviously I've done halves before, but I'm like, how am I ever going to run double that? But it's like just starting to get used to, say, running 5K. When you're comfortable at 5K, it's like, okay, now 10K feels easy. It's building it, like it's building your resilience through just repeating it. I would also say, if you want accountability, definitely get a little buddy to run with or a coach.
Well, not as accountability, make it fun.
Yeah.
So,
I'm getting to the fun in a minute, but carry on.
I'm ahead of you. Go for it. Make it fun.
But yeah, make it fun because you've got someone to go with, and you can have random conversations about like giving pigeons.
You still haven't told me what that was about.
Viking funerals, as we talked about before.
No, I need the full story behind this.
And then I would say buy yourself, and like, if you like, make it nice for yourself. So buy a nice pair of trainers, buy a nice like running vest or whatever it might be. And then sort of like celebrate when, even if you're like, do you know what, you went for a run, good job, you wouldn't have done that before at the end of the run. So reward, it's like, having accountability, making it fun, make it very, very easy so you can build to build your resilience, and just celebrate like when you do the little things, even if it's like, do you know what, that wasn't terrible, I did a great job, move on. You don't have to wax lyrical about yourself.
I love that. I think we've given people tons of different structures in this episode. And the last thing I would say is also look back and go, wait, what are all the things I didn't believe were possible that I've already done so far? And even like tiny things, like, was it the first time you put up some bookshelves? You didn't know how to do it and you thought, I'm going to mess this up, and then you didn't. Go back through the history books, recognize all the things that you've done so far that you really thought you couldn't, or you thought would be really hard or really difficult that weren't. And regularly visit that and be grateful. And then next time something comes up that you want to do, but you just think, oh, it's going to be too hard, remind yourself, I have felt this before.
Yes.
And I got a positive outcome by still doing it.
Exactly.
I have done this before. I have, David Goggins talks about having the kind of cookie jar of gratitude of all your achievements, and reminding yourself, I've probably overcome something harder. I've probably done something more difficult. I've probably felt uncomfortable before, but got a good result by leaning into doing the thing.
I love that. And it's so true. It's just like and I guarantee, like, to our listeners and the viewers, you are awesome. And when you look back, you will find actually that there's a lot of evidence to support this.
I mean, I always think that I'm like the world's worst snowboarder. I mean, I'm so slow. It's like a grandma. But I still can do it because I told myself I can be a snowboarder. And I think, to talk about our last episode of perfectionism, also check, like, what standard are you holding yourself to? The limiting belief that I'll never be a pro Olympic snowboarder, true. But the limiting belief that I could never snowboard down a black slope, I can go down black slopes now. Love so that. You can one fall at a time, I would say. Like 10,000 falls later, I can go down a black slope on my snowboard.
Love it. That's so good. Thank you so much, Angels, for joining us on the podcast this week. And if you have any questions, please get in touch with us. And as always, if there's anyone that's going to benefit from listening to this, if there's anyone that you know that you think is actually awesome, but you know that they struggle with not believing it themselves, do feel free to share this podcast with them. We appreciate you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next week.